So you clicked on this video because you want to know one of the biggest mistakes that I see buyers make when purchasing a new home. Well, stay tuned because I'm going to break it down for you. Hi, my name is Griffin. I'm a top-selling real estate agent in the Northern Virginia and Loudoun County area. I work for Pearson Realty, and I also run a very popular moms group called the Loudoun Moms, and it's everything you need to know about being a mom in Loudoun County. And I would say 90% of my clients who are purchasing a new home have children. And oftentimes I see these mistakes made all the time. And I'm going to help you avoid these mistakes when purchasing your next home. And the biggest mistake that I see clients make is that they don't think about the new home that they want to buy for the future. And so often we maybe are coming from an apartment or a rental and we're buying our first single family home, or perhaps we're coming from a smaller townhome or a condo or even smaller single family and we're moving to a single family the first time. And oftentimes I'll see those clients, they'll have a list of their wants, maybe something and needs, something that maybe didn't work in their current situation that they want to see in their next house. But so often they forget to ask this one critical thing. And a lot of times I'll ask it is, how do you see your family in your life in the next 5 years? So think about it. What will your life be like in the next 5 years? Are you going to be in the same job? Will you be commuting to the same area? Will you maybe be commuting farther out or closer in? Will you be adding a dog to your family? Maybe you want to have more children. Maybe your child will be in kindergarten or they'll be going to high school, those kinds of things. So really think about, if this is going to be a long-term home, what will the 5-year and 10-year goals be for your life? And you might be going, why do we care, Laura? Because so often I will see clients who will buy a house. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. It's, it's shiny. It's new. It had the white kitchen like they wanted, and it had, the right courts, and it was in the right neighborhood. But they didn't buy the right type of home. And I will tell you from personal experience, my husband and I have done the same thing. We wanted to get out of our townhouse, found a single family. It had a lot of the things our townhouse didn't have. And fast forward about 2.5 years into it, we had my son, and we quickly outgrew it, and we realized there were some things about the home. Yes, it had enough space, but it was a bad use of space. So really, we didn't think this thing through, and I didn't do the same thing I do with my clients is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And my husband had switched jobs. He was commuting so much further away, and it just wasn't the right fit. So really stop and ask yourself, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years or even 10 years? And would this house fit your needs, or are there other things that you might want to consider when purchasing your next house? So first, take into consideration your needs that you have right now. Do you need a 3-bedroom, a 4-bedroom, potentially a 5-bedroom home? Do you need to have enough rooms for all your family members plus a guest room or a space for the grandparents to visit? So really take a look at where you're currently living and what isn't working for you spatially. Do you not have enough rooms? Are the rooms small and you need an extra office or a playroom, something like that? So really take a look at how many bedrooms do you need, how many bathrooms. I know sometimes I'll have clients and they'll call me a few years into this and say, we didn't think about, on the top floor, we have 2 children. We have a boy and a girl. And as they've gotten older, they don't want to share a bathroom. So we should have looked for a house with 3 bathrooms on the second floor versus 2 bathrooms. In hindsight, that was a missed opportunity. So don't only look at bedrooms, but also think about the bathrooms. Next, think about the floor plan. Do you want an open floor plan, or do you want something that's a little bit more closed in? A lot of times I'll hear from clients, I want a little more closed in so I can fence off certain areas now that my children are little. Think about it. In 5 years, would you want more of an open concept house when the kids might be off in a different room playing a different game and you want to kind of keep an eye while you're cooking dinner? So definitely think of the layout of the main living area. Do you want open concept, more closed? Do you need a first floor office? Because perhaps one of you works from home and the other one might have an option down the road to work from home. So maybe you need 2 office spaces or 2 places that could be an office. Also look at, do you need a playroom space? So would the basement work? Or your kids like mine, they refuse to go down to this beautiful playroom we have in the basement because it's dark and it's scary and it's spooky. So we had to rearrange our house and put a playroom upstairs near their room and took away the guest room and moved the guest room down to the basement. So look at the house. Can you maybe flip the rooms around a little bit to make it accommodate your family now and in the future, depending on what your needs are? While we're on the topic of playrooms and play spaces, really take in consideration yard space. Is that something that's important to you now or in the future? Do you envision playing soccer in your backyard, or is there a park across the street where you could go play soccer and use their grass? So think about, how would you utilize your backyard? Do you want an entertaining space and a play space, only play, or only entertaining? And also think about play spaces in your home. Like I said, we have a huge rec room in the basement, but no one wants to go there. We even put their video game console down there, still won't go down there. Air hockey table, still won't go down there. So think about, where would you want to have your play areas? Do you envision having a basement area where you and your kids could go down and play? Do you want a playroom on the second floor near the bedrooms like we have? Do they need a homework space? Do you envision sharing your office space with a homework space in the future when, maybe middle school and things like that, and high school when there's a lot more homework involved? So really look at play spaces inside the home as well as outside the home. Next is the one thing that no one ever wants to talk about, and that is storage spaces. So often if you're selling a home with me, you will hear me talk about, we're trying to sell a lifestyle, right? And so we'll have you ship a lot of your stuff away. It'll either be in boxes in the garage. A lot of people get storage units. And so when we're walking homes, you will fall into a trap that a lot of the buyers who go see my listings will fall into. Look at this house. It's so spacious. There's just so much room and ample closet space. Well, you don't think about that, like probably half their stuff is in the storage unit, right? It's like offsite in a pod somewhere else, and they've run out of room, and that's why they're selling, and you're going to run out of room too. So really take into consideration, is there a big pantry? What does the laundry room look like? Is there a linen closet? I didn't think about that. And we had a home with 6 bedrooms, and it was a huge house, but there was no linen closet. So everyone had towels and stuff hidden everywhere. It didn't really work for our family. So think about that. Do the children have, in the secondary bedrooms, are the closets really, really small? Are there walk-in closets? In the primary bedroom, is there 1 walk-in closet or 2 walk-in closets? Or is there just a tiny little closet? Would that work for you and work for you in the future? Look at the basement. So often we forget to look in the basement. Is there a storage area, or did they finish the entire thing? If you're like me and you like holiday decorations, is having just a little 5x5 space going to be big enough in the basement for all your holiday decorations? Probably not. Look at the garage. Is it a 2-car? And by the time you move in, at least 1 car, bikes, outdoor gear, camping stuff, holiday decorations, is there going to be room for even 1 car in this garage? Or could you fit 2 cars into this garage? So really look at the storage spaces in the basement, the garage, and throughout the entire house, because so often we forget about that. And I'll be walking around with a client and they've bought a house and like, we didn't realize there was no pantry. It's like, oops, we forgot. There's just 2 little cabinets in the kitchen. How are we going to do this? So really look at those spaces, because it is so critical in envisioning how you're going to live in that home. And lastly, let's talk about budget. So hopefully you've been pre-approved and hopefully you know what your maximum is. And I highly recommend, let's say your maximum is $800,000. I highly recommend starting your search at like $750,000 or so. And that way you can kind of come up. Because so often I'll see clients who start their search at $800,000 because that's where they're pre-approved. And maybe there's their dream home at $815,000 and we just can't make that work with the lender. Sometimes we can, but sometimes we cannot. And so it's really hard to be looking at this perfect dream home that's just slightly out of reach. So if you start lower and know that there's room to go up, it might help you in your search. Also, if we happen to just get into a bidding war with someone, you've got a little bit of wiggle room to play with. It's much easier to come up from like 750 to 800 than it is to go from 800 to 800. So definitely think about your budget, but also think about, is this a long-term home for you? And is it a possibility that you could get into a house that you really love right now? I know rates are kind of high, but is it possible in a year or 2 or maybe even 3 years you could just refinance down and this would still be a great home for you, and you would have a less of a payment than you do now? So definitely look at your financial budget and stay within your budget. So if your maximum is 800, don't go ask me to see a home that's at 950 or higher just because we just want to see it. That's fine. Maybe go to an open house on the weekend or something like that. But if it's that high above your budget, it's really going to be hard to kind of have you come back down into where your price range is. It's great to dream. My husband and I like to go to open houses and new construction communities. If you see me on the weekend, that's probably, if I'm not out showing houses, that's probably what I'm doing. And it's so much fun. But definitely stay within your budget because you're going to be happier in the long run. So I hope these tips really help you in finding the right home and not make the mistakes that I see clients often make sometimes. If you have any questions about buying or selling a home in the Loudoun County, Northern Virginia area, I'd love to be a resource for you and answer any questions that you have. I also have a buyer and a seller's guide, and if you would like a copy of that, there will be a link below in the description. And if you have any questions about buying or selling, again, my contact information is below in the description.